World-renowned artist Emily Carr was born at her parents' estate on Victoria's Government Street in 1871, not far from the site of George Na's haunted house, which is Dallas Road, which I do have a video on that one as well, in another video. Both the woman herself and Emily Carr House have given rise to some ghost stories. In her autobiography, Emily notes that she was a country child who did not seek out the company of other children. Instead, she preferred to spend her time alone with farm animals on the property or simply roaming about alone. It's no wonder why I admire Emily. In common with the solitary children, young Emily adopted an invisible friend who often accompanied her on her explorations. This companion was so real to Emily that years later, as an adult, she reflected on the possibility that her companion was actually a ghost, and not just the product of her own imagination. I always wondered if it was the spirit of a young boy who joined me, she insisted. The Carr's original land has since been subdivided. What remains with the house today is only a fraction of the original size, but the family home still stands. Some people believe it to be haunted, and Barbara's own experience while visiting Emily Carr House has made her one of those people. She looked forward to visiting the house from the moment that she planned her trip to Victoria. Not only was she hoping for a ghost story, but her interest in Canadian art history made Emily Carr House at 207 Government Street a must-see. Seconds after she walked into the house, she asked a staff member whether or not it was haunted. She smiled and suggested that she tour the house and come back to report her impressions. Even though Barbara, doesn't claim to be physically sensitive, she accepted the challenge and began to explore various rooms. Unfortunately, the Emily Carr Museum has been closed for a little while, all the trips that I've been on, so I haven't been able to get inside, but I have been outside and I got some videos of you on that, which is up at my page, facebook.com/Phantom1831, if you want to see the outside of the Emily Carr Museum, which I think is still pretty cool. Okay, continuing on. Barbara thoroughly enjoyed poking about the main floor, but sensed nothing out of the ordinary. As soon as she climbed the stairs, however, she felt uncomfortable, as though she was intruding into someone else's space. Although her urge was to escape the sensation by retreating to the main floor, she has waited a long time to visit Emily's birthplace and was determined to at least complete her tour. Emily's parents' bedrooms are on display and look as they would have when the family was living in the house. Although the public is invited to walk right into Miss Carr's bedroom, she found that she wasn't able to. A sense that it was someone else's personal space was just too strong, and she went back downstairs immediately. So here's a photo of the house, just in case if you want to see from the book. But like I said, I do have photos up on my Facebook page. After waiting a moment to compose herself, she approached the woman that she'd spoken to earlier. She smiled and acknowledged that Emily Carr House is indeed haunted, but not by Emily. It is the ghost of Emily Carr's mother that has remained. Apparently, as a youngster, Emily was afraid to climb the staircase at night. To ease the child's fears, her mother used to stand at the top of the stairs while the child made her way up. The antidote certainly explained the protective presence that Barbara had detected as she climbed the stairs. Emily's mother's bedroom is the only other area of the house thought to be haunted. Although Miss Carr died in 1886, her spirit has not entirely left her former home. But what of the spirit of the artist herself? Although her ghost has never been seen in her childhood home, her spirit hasn't completely left the city where she spent most of her life. The ghost of Emily Carr is often seen at nearby St. Andrew's Academy, a historic site that previously served as a girls' school and as a convent. In one such incident in 1992, Victoria resident Greg Hartnell saw her image, and his sightings was later confirmed by a second witness. James Fry, a cable television producer, had previously seen Carr's appreciation in November 1991. While scouting for filming locations, the encounter took place in the early evening. Fry watched in fascination as a ghost image appeared at a window in the otherwise vacant St. Anne's. Apparently open-minded to the concept of ghosts, the producer expressed interest in possibly interviewing the ghost on television. Unfortunately, the spirit did not cooperate with that. A year earlier, retired businessman Arthur Knight reported to the newspaper that he'd seen two hooded figures at St. Anne's just as dawn was breaking. The man had the good fortune to have a camera with him at the time and quickly snapped a shot that later confirmed his observations. It would seem that in death, at least Emily Carr is not alone. So don't forget, I do have the story of where Emily Carr haunts. I also did the video on Emily Carr Museum, so you could see the museum and where she grew up, and now you know it's haunted, so you have the full story. So keep checking my website, facebook.com/phantom1831, facebook.com/phantom1831. I won't tell you in this video where Emily Carr haunts. It's still gonna put you in suspense, so I will get to that video. But for now, we know her mom is here, and she did have a friend growing up who was a ghost. So once again, this is Mary J.M. from Mary J.M.'s Ghostly Adventures, telling you stories from Ghost Stories and Mysterious Creatures of British Columbia by Barbara Smith. And check out my page, facebook.com/phantom1831. And once again, this is Mary J.M. from Victoria, BC. facebook.com/phantom1831, showing you haunted BC.
The world inside your head is filled with assumptions and regrets. The image in the mirror can seem so